Uncle Fu didn't forget to smack my forehead with his other hand, gently erasing. I was already in unbearable pain, covering the wound on his thigh with his hand. He shouted with great effort, "Grandfather, don't worry about me. Run by yourself. These bastards won't let me off easily. Little bunny, shut up." Uncle Fu's expression turned cold, then hurriedly kicked me in the back. "I stepped on you." He trembled at the corners of his mouth. "Stop it. Don't make it hard for the child. Whatever you have, bring it on." HMPH. I can't believe it. Back then, the plan was to transport the Yanluo iron calculation to the realm of Tao. It turns out that there are times when you care about others. Is this kid not your biological son? Uncle Fu is satisfied, revealing a smug expression of a petty person. Squatting beside me, you said, "I don't want him to die. You should let Kai Shen go first." Gee, you are already old. My skills aren't what they used to be. If we gather our strength now, who will win or lose is still uncertain. I advise you not to act impulsively. HMPH. Second Master had a face full of anger, but still had to pull the dagger back. Pushed aside Kai Shen. Kai Shen stumbled and ran a few meters. Cover the pierced area on the chest with your hand. Yet a cold laugh continued to escape from his mouth. "Lao Wu, what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and take action. I still haven't gotten what I want. It's a loss to act now." Finished speaking, Uncle Fu raised his gaze once again, looking at the stern-faced second master. "Every word is a step. Gee, I said it back then. The secret beneath the Fazong Heavenly Pass. You cannot hold on, but you insist on going your own way. It must be suppressed. Back then, brothers are looking for it to get it back for you. Died. The pain has cost so much, but you don't share any benefits with us at all. It's really selfish." Second Master replied coldly, "Wan Yufu, sounds so nice. You are nothing but the Hue Yang forbidden curse based on the heavenly gate. I was truly blind. I never realized the kind of person you truly are. I never expected that the person who has been plotting against me. We actually live on the same street. You really know how to disguise yourself. You're too kind. These skills. But it was you who taught me step by step back then." Uncle Fu pressed the crossbow against my back, ordered me to slowly stand up. Then, with a strange laugh, he looked me in the eye. "Kid, you really have a great fate. Even burning the fan won't kill you. But this is also good. If it weren't for your help, how could I easily find my second brother's hiding place?" Listening to these shameless dialogues, the anger in my heart, it's almost burning my brain, exposed wide open eyes. "Wan Yufu, you have indeed been lying to me all along." "Yeah, I have always been lying to you. Who told you to be so foolish?" Wan Yufu didn't care at all about my expression. Instead, they laughed even more bizarrely and shamelessly. "I intentionally pointed you to find Kai Shen. I originally planned to cast a spell on you through him. You are haunted by a vengeful spirit. Forces your elder to reveal himself. Unfortunately, you're just too lucky, kid. You've managed to dodge these 2 times as well. But this time it won't happen." He took a cold breath. "Turn around." Continuing to look at Second Master, I said, "Second brother, charming people do not speak in riddles. I have worked hard to plan for so many years to obtain the Ring of Yang's forbidden spell. Please hand it over to me immediately. Otherwise, you can blame me for not being clear. Let's fight to the bitter end." Yi shook his head coldly and said, "The Ring of Sun's forbidden spell is not on me at all. Haven't you already received that coffin?" "Is there nothing in the coffin?" HMPH. If there is something in the coffin, why should I continue to play along with that fool?" Wan Yufu let out a cold snort, with a gloomy gaze. "Where is that thing? Only you can guess clearly, if you don't want to die in vain. Just tell me early." Elder Second is silent now. Gave me a silent glance. He shook his head and hummed. "Unfortunately, Wan Yufu was taken aback. A hint of doubt flashed in her eyes. Second master saw this and didn't hesitate. Stretch out both hands directly. If they don't believe it, you can directly go up and search them. I'm coming. Kai Shen had a sinister expression, just as they were about to step forward to search him. But Wan Yufu directly called out to him, "Wait a moment. This old guy shouldn't be lying at a time like this. Don't get close to him. Avoid being schemed against by him." After stopping Kai Shen's search action, Wan Yufu took a deep breath again. "Keep pushing me to speak. Second brother, things have come to this point. There's no need for us to waste any more time. I have a suggestion. Do you want to listen?" Second master remained silent with a cold expression, just silently nodding, indicate that he has a fart to let out. Wan Yufu shifted the crossbow bolt slightly from my back. Since Lai Zu opened the coffin, immediately possessed by the evil spirit in the coffin, now has already betrayed oneself. After he gained enough power, the first one to look for. How about we join forces to get rid of him? Then I will return Liao Fan to you as a trade. Return Yang Jingju to us." Yi said expressionlessly. Lai Zu said, "It's also my daughter. Do you think I will agree? This is not up to you." Kai Shen, who had been mostly silent, it has already been severed by second master, the last remaining right hand, yet equally dry and sharp, like hanging from the beam. Smoked rotten meat, skin turns dark. The skin is wrinkled, almost invisible flesh and blood, but the nails are unusually sharp, accompanied by a strong stench. The moment he choked me with hunger, I felt like my trachea was being compressed. Even breathing became extremely laborious, but they held back without a sound. I don't want to hold back second master. Kid, I didn't expect you to be so tough. Then a kick landed on my thigh. I immediately cried out in pain. Don't blame me for not bleeding. It really hurts. The crossbow bolt is still lodged in my leg. After receiving that kick, the crossbow bolt pierced even deeper, the pain of iron piercing through flesh. It caused my whole body to convulse. Second master felt an overwhelming heartache. He immediately frowned. He sternly stopped him. Xiao Fan is innocent. No matter how you struggle, he is of no help at all. Wan Yufu grinned and said, "We also don't want to struggle. This silly boy, it's a pity you refuse to agree no matter what. What can I do?" Speaking, Wan Yufu also extended his hand. I grasped the crossbow bolt stuck in my leg, gently and slowly exerting force to stir. Moment, I feel my entire thigh, as if about to be torn apart. My vision went dark, unable to even stand. Yi's face was already as black as the bottom of a pot. He looked at Wang Yufu, who had a face full of enjoyment. I looked at myself, drenched in sweat from the pain. In the end, I could only helplessly close my eyes. He let out a long sigh. "All right, I will take you to find him. After reaching the rebirth serenity spell, you must release the child. Second master, don't listen to them. They are heartless. I will never keep my promises." Even though I was rolling on the ground in pain, yet still stubbornly trying to resist. Before the words could finish, I have already taken a hard kick from the vegetable god on my stomach. That kick almost sent me rolling over half a meter. A sharp pain struck in the lower abdomen. My organs feel like they are about to twist in pain. Immediately attack the castle with your body, constantly pressing forward. Couldn't say a word. Wan Yufu caught up with me. Continue drawing with the crossbow bolt on my neck. Still don't forget to pat my face. Fully mockery. Kid, why bother? You are just a pawn in our game. Smart words shouldn't be resisted. Your life is of no use to me, as long as you two, father and son, are willing to cooperate. In the future, I might let you off the hook. Then he ordered me to stand up again. For the second master, whose face has turned ashen gray, he lifted his chin. Second brother, Let's go. It is almost dawn. I tend to be quite impatient. When the sun rises, I still can't see what I want. Then don't blame my brother for being ruthless. Yi ignored him, just gave me a deep look. Finally, Len lowered her head coldly, turned back again, heading towards the place that was originally used to bury the heavenly gate of the funeral. This stretch of road isn't long. We quickly returned to that valley. After arriving at the place, second master first looked up to calculate the summer time, then walked to the vicinity of that pit. He pulled out some dark red powder from his pocket. Huangni and Zhu and similar things, arranged in a specific order quickly, scattered them on the lawn. Kai Shen is quite cautious. Second master has just made a move. He immediately spoke to congratulate. Surname Jan, what do you want to do? I warn you, it's best not to mess around. Yi, as a genuine Feng Shui master, not only understanding the changing winds and clouds, he also knows many powerful formation techniques. Clearly, Kai Shen is somewhat wary of Yi's abilities, afraid that second master will directly set up a formation to deal with me. Regarding this, Yi did not provide much explanation, just coldly snorted to express disdain. Wang Yufu let out a dry laugh, spoke in a sarcastic tone. Don't be nervous. Second brother is planning the formation. Draw Lai Zhu out from the mountains. This foul girl, since merging with the ghost in the coffin, it won't be so easy to deal with anymore. We need to be careful too. Don't capsize in the ditch. Wang Yufu was speaking. Second master has already turned cold-faced. It has started to walk the omen. He stood on tiptoe, barely making a sound. Take a deep breath, muttering incantations that I couldn't understand. The body moves swiftly around the place where I scattered yellow millet and pig sand. Quickly got up to follow. As second master moved, I can clearly feel it too. It seems like the wind has risen in the valley. A cold wind suddenly swept in from nowhere. The leaves were swiftly stirred. Shadows are everywhere. The thick fog is swirling around. The mountain wind blew even stronger. The fierce wind whipped against my face. Like a steel knife, it makes my cheeks stiff. Every pore in my body instinctively tightened. Meanwhile, under that abandoned pit, suddenly a thicker, forest-like fog began to rise. The thick fog gradually thickens, like a hazy white sand stick, gradually unfolding. At the end of the thick fog, an unusually cold breeze. It also began to spiral up, formed many small maple leaves, drifting all around the valley. I know. Second master is planning to perform a ritual, force Lai Zhu to come out. Once he successfully cast the spell, Lai Zhu had no choice but to make an appearance, facing the siege of Wang Yufu and Kai Shen. Damn it, I am tightly controlled by Wang Yufu, unable to break free at all. As the white mist became thicker and thicker, feeling extremely anxious inside. Although I have always been afraid of Lai Zhu, to be fair and impartial, he only wants to take me away. It seems they have never done anything to harm me. But once Lai Zhu falls into the hands of these two brutes, the next match will definitely be especially tragic. Not only that, even my second uncle and I'm afraid there won't be a way out. Damn it. Let it be if I have to die, even if I am harmed to death. It's always better than dragging down second master. Thinking of this, I immediately reached for my waist. Hold tightly. Don't let the demon-slaying knife under the belt. The evil-slaying blade can kill ghosts. I can also deal with someone like Kai Shen, who is so stubborn. I have made up my mind, even if it means getting killed. From beginning to end, Wang Yufu and Kai Shen did not take me to heart. The two kept stretching their necks, staring intently at the second master who was performing the ritual. While they are unprepared, I have secretly pulled out the evil-slaying blade, hidden in the sleeve. Then, his gaze coldly fixed on Kai Shen's back, take a deep breath, always ready to pounce. Faintly, a sound of footsteps echoed, accompanied by endless grievances and coldness. He has come out. HMPH. Second brother really has some skills. Moment. Kai Shen and Wang Yufu both showed expressions of extreme excitement. Everyone was ready to take action against Lai Zhu. Meanwhile, I also took advantage of their attention being fully focused on the crops. Suddenly erupted, let out a low growl. With a reversed strike, the evil slashing blade was thrust toward Kai Shen's back. Old thing, go die. This knife came too suddenly. Kai Shenjang was watching the spot where Lai Zhu was about to appear. Once the battle lines are drawn, I never thought I would have the courage to take action against him. Suddenly, an oversight occurred. I was fiercely stabbed in the back with the demon-slaying blade. But when the evil-slaying blade pierced his back, suddenly a thick plume of smoke spread out. Kai Shen's body. It feels like I'm about to melt, breathing the hissing black water. Little rascal, you're asking for death. He was in so much pain that his face was completely contorted. Clear the remaining right hand. Pull the knife handle from behind with a reverse grip. Evil slaying blade. It is specifically created to restrain evil. Kai Shengen gripped the demon-slaying blade. A red light immediately flickered on the knife handle. It burned his palm until it turned black. Let out a more mournful wail, rolling on the ground in pain. Little bunny, you're looking for death. Wang Yufu saw this scene. Suddenly, I fell asleep, staring incredulously at the Jiangxi blade. My eyelids twitched violently a few times. I roared at him. Little rascal, where did this knife come from? How do you have such a magical artifact? I completely ignored him. After the ambush was successful, immediately jumped to the side, running unsteadily towards Second Master. Quick, stop. Let's hurry up. The conversation is only half complete. The scene that followed. Yet again, it plunged me into terror. Time is stepping on the Second Master, suddenly engulfed by a thick white mist, enveloped the body. Then, without any warning, the white pieces were struck. The mouth let out a painful scream. Then a mouthful of old blood spurted out. Second Master staggered. He staggered back several steps, sat down hard on the ground. He smiled bitterly. Sure enough, you really have to kill me, don't you? Old thing, this time you brought it upon yourself. A fierce roar quickly echoed through the mist of the dragon. Lai Zhu, who was originally hiding inside, suddenly leaped out. Her hair turned into endless seaweed. In the frigid air, growing wildly and recklessly, beneath the eerie black hair, a face covered in blood, pale and terrifying. He didn't hesitate at all. At the moment I was forced out by Second Master. Let's get started immediately. The long black hair continued to surge uncontrollably, like a venomous snake, tangled around Second Master's legs and body, then desperately tightened, and also in a strange height. It was about to climb onto Second Master's neck. He was already gasping for breath. In the cold wind, mixed with Lai Zhu, filled with resentment and mournful howls. You don't deserve to be my father at all. I am trapped underground, endured torment for over a decade. All of this is thanks to you. I want to kill you. I will kill you. The hair keeps shrinking tighter. Second Master rolled his eyes in frustration. A little pain. But even so, Yi made no attempt to resist. Just lay on the ground in pain. Made a strained sound. I truly apologize to you. I have already suffered retribution. If you kill me, if it can free you, I would rather die at your hands. Stop it. I was scared to death. Hurry up and run. Directly jumped to Second Master's side. Pulled tightly onto those desperately tightening long hair. Shouted at Lai Zhu. Whether you're the older sister or the younger sister, no one can harm Second Master. She is the green silk woman. Heaven's law is hard to bear. Let her go. Yi indeed harmed Lai Zhu, but her intentions were ultimately good. She just didn't expect it. That coffin would say this. Over the past decade or so, Ye lives in pain and regret every day. Such a punishment, far more painful than death. Why did Lai Zufei have to kill? Second master is impossible. Get out of my way. My actions completely infuriated Lai Zu. She waved her arm. A strand of black hair. I couldn't stand being so passive any longer. All over the body. Entire body stiff. Even breathing came to a complete halt. Looked at with a face full of fear, Lai Zu's twisted face. Unknowingly, a tear unexpectedly slid down. Lai Zu, you should stop. Don't hold any more resentment towards second master. I know, over the years, Lai Zu has suffered a lot. Not just the soul, trapped beneath that cold, dark coffin. And every moment, all must suffer the torment and invasion of the malevolent chill. It is precisely because of the long-term influence of evil energy. This will lead to Lai Zu became so resentful and crazy. There are already enough people who can die. Even my own sister's body, also forcibly occupied by her. Isn't this enough? Not enough. Not enough at all. I want to kill her. Only her death. Only then can I quell the resentment in my heart. Brother, she gave me a chance to kill her. You can't blame me. You can't blame me. Lai Zu had completely lost her mind. Deep within the dark red eyes, a lingering resentment fills the air. It feels like this resentment, enough to set the entire sky ablaze. I was captivated by her twisted appearance, scared out of my wits. Can be invisible. Yet I felt more and more sympathy for this girl. More than 10 years ago, she is just someone suffering from a terminal illness. The pitiful girl, all alone and helpless. If it weren't for second master, things would have gone wrong. Set their sights on Huan Yang Jingzhu. How could it cause the entire family to fall apart? It won't lead Lai Zulyuo to this state. I cried, let the tears flow freely, speaking with a choked voice. What has already happened? It is destined to be unchangeable. If you can only be happy when someone dies, then just kill me. With my life, wash away the hatred in your heart. My life was saved by Yi. No relatives or friends. Even if it is returned to the father and daughter, it doesn't matter. Let's consider it a repayment of gratitude. Listen to me. Lai Zu suddenly stopped. The fierce look in his eyes slightly softened, changing to a bewildered gaze. He looked at me blankly and said, "You really do. Willing to die for me?" I nodded, struggling to suppress the fear of death. Speak word by word. As long as my death, I can help soothe the resentment in your heart. Then go ahead and take action. Living in this terrible world, I am already a bit tired of it. From the moment I opened that coffin, the moment the blood demon occupying Lai Zu's body emerged. This moment, it seems to have been destined. I looked at Lai Zu's face filled with indifference, suddenly became calm. Haven't you always wanted to take me away? I agreed. Now we can get started. I promise I won't run away. I will never resist either. The only request, you must let go of Yan. How is it? I'll finish speaking. Then close your eyes, quietly waiting for the arrival of death. Unexpectedly, Lai Zu surprisingly did not act in time. She just maintained that neutral expression. Dazed eyes. It seemed to contain a hint of incredulous shock. They gazed at each other for a long while. She quietly opened her fingers. Still staring at me, they said, "You would rather die. I also want to resolve my grievances. It's all for your two eyes. Still for me. Is it important?" I was somewhat surprised that, why hasn't Lai Zu made a move yet? A bitter shake of the head and a smile. I don't understand why either. Perhaps it was to repay a kindness. Or perhaps it's because I haven't forgotten yet the feelings I had for you back then. No matter what she has become, regardless of the ruler, the consciousness of this body. Is it the elder sister or the younger sister? Or it has become a fusion of two types of thinking. I still subconsciously treat Lai Zu as, she is the first goddess of abundance in life. reflecting on those 3 years of being classmates. No longer so afraid in my heart. Perhaps it was my honesty. It touched the last bit of kindness remaining in her heart. Lai Zhu accidentally let go. The expression also became less ferocious. Step back slowly and say, Xiao Fan. Actually, I didn't. Be careful, everyone. Suddenly, second master fell to the ground, heavily injured by Lai Zhu. Let out a gasp. Lai Zhu and I were both startled. Can't wait to finish speaking. Everyone turned to look behind them. In sight, netizens are unsure when it will be available. Caught a handful of fishing net in my hand. Unexpectedly took advantage of our entanglement. With a cold smile, he threw the fishing net over. Her fishing net seems to be custom made. A layer of dark red blood soaked above, even before it has settled on the head. I also caught a whiff of an exceptionally strong odor of fishiness. Lai Zhu, who originally wore a face full of sorrow, at this moment their expression changed drastically, pushed me away harshly. You hurry and leave. At this moment, the fishing net has been spread open. A large net with a diameter of more than 3 meters was formed. Lai Zhu pushed me away, was covered by itself, under that blood-red net. She extended her blood-red nails, trying to cut open the fishing net. Qi Yu Wang doesn't know what materials to use for support. Not only is it full of elasticity and tension, and also give external resilience. Lai Zhu's hand just touched the fishing net. Immediately, white smoke started to rise with a sizzling sound. She let out a cry, immediately covered by the giant net dragon. Soon, the surface of those fishing nets, it began to wriggle strangely, just like the countless little snakes on Mido's head. Quickly climbs onto Lai Zhu. Lai Zhu was immediately trapped, continuously shouting, continuously waving arms aimlessly. But the fishing net exerted a strong restraint on her. Not only was she unable to get rid of it, instead it became tighter and tighter. These lines resemble countless vines. Madness enveloped Lai Zhu's slender body, pulling her back. I dragged it to a place not far from where my online friend lived. I don't know if it's just my illusion. It always felt like when Lai Zhu was covered by the large net, the scent on his body was rapidly fading away, become just like a normal girl. The secret of Huiyang Jingzhu. I finally get to have you. Netizens are extremely arrogant. Walked up with a cold expression, one foot on the still struggling Lai Zhu's shoulder. He raised a face with a sinister, eerie smile and said, Don't waste your effort to find a way to restrain you. I have pondered over this for a full 10 years. This soul-catching net, it was taught to me by an old Taoist priest from Longshan. Even a 1,000-year-old ghost can't escape, let alone you. Lai Zhu stopped struggling. Lie down flat on the ground. Let desire wrap around oneself tightly, listening to her unrestrained and hoarse laughter. He raised his head coldly and said, What can you do by capturing me? I have been trapped down here for over 10 years. I have long since lost my attachment to this world. Wan Ju fuming smiled and said, Since you don't want to live, then hurry up and hand over what I want. I will comfortably send you on your way. No, cannot give it to her. Second master, who was previously tangled up by Lai Zhu's hair. At that moment, I struggled to get up, wobbling towards this side. Yelled loudly at Lai Zhu. If you give her, it would lead to a complete disruption of the yin-yang order. You are also her victim. It should be very clear. How evil is this thing? Definitely cannot give. Absolutely must not give. When Yi spoke, still not forgetting to run over here with a bright and loud demeanor. Unfortunately, she just summoned Lai Zhu to perform the ritual. I have already exhausted a lot of energy. Once again, Lai Zhu inflicted serious injuries on me, completely powerless to stop things here. Before I could run 2 steps, just tripped and fell to the ground again over a stone. The immortal old man, we've ended up in this situation. You still want to ruin my good plans. Wang Yufu heard the shout from Yi. Her expression suddenly darkened. Just let go. Another crossbow bolt was shot out. Hit second master's lower abdomen accurately. Second master's lower abdomen was pierced. Immediately let out a mournful scream, rolling on the ground in pain. Grandfather! I hurriedly crawled over, helped second master up from behind, looking at his bleeding abdomen, full of worry. Hurry and press down on his wound with your hand. Don't worry about me. We must stop him. Never let Huan Yanjingju appear again. Yi, however, painfully pushed me away. With trembling fingers, she pointed at Wang Yufu. He said breathlessly, "Quick, stop him. You should hurry." Without saying a word, I quickly grasped the dagger handed over by Yi, rushing towards Wang Yufu with a blank expression, though was still stuck in Kai Shen's back. I didn't have time to take it. I had no choice but to switch to second master's dagger, stabbed towards Wang Yufu. Qi Wang doesn't even look at me. Don't wait for me to get closer. Kicked out fiercely, right in my chest. That kick nearly broke my ribs. All his voice, mouth bleeding. Again, it fell back to the ground. An overconfident fool. Even your second uncle can't compete with me, let alone you. After being kicked over, Wang Yufu wore all his disdain on his face. Shake your head. Continue to look at Lai Zhu and say, "You seem to care a lot about this kid. If you don't want him to continue suffering, quickly take out what I want. Otherwise, I will do it in front of you. Break this brat's hands and feet one by one. One family, you are shameless. Come at me if you dare. What heroism is there in making things difficult for a woman?" I struggled and spat out blood. Still want to get up and fight hard. My whole body hurts everywhere, besides lying on the ground and talking nonsense. I have no strength left. This is the first time in my life. So hateful of my own uselessness and weakness. Lai Zhu silently looked at the one kicked to the ground. The child in my mouth keeps shouting. It seems like a brief moment of contemplation. Then he turned his gaze to Wang Yufu. "Okay, I can tell you where that thing is. But you must promise me, after you get it, must let go of those who leave." Lai Zhu, no, this guy is not trustworthy. Hearing Lai Zhu's statement, I suddenly panicked. Although it's unclear, the so-called Ring Sun Mirror curse. What does it truly represent? But second master would fight to the death. There are also things that need to be hidden. It definitely won't be that simple. I really want to stop Lai Zhu. The words are not finished. Receive another heavy kick on the back. A sharp pain struck. I only felt darkness in my eyes. Lying on the ground, unable to move at all, Wang Yufu couldn't stop sneering. It's truly a touching scene. Unfortunately, tears are the least valuable thing in this world. It is precisely because you are too weak. Everyone has something they can't let go of. So only I can laugh in the end. After expressing their mockery towards me, Wang Yufu turned his gaze back to Lai Zhu. "Lan Lan Dao, dawn is approaching. My patience is almost exhausted. This is your last chance. Quick, give me the stuff." Faced with Wang Yufu's repeated pressure, Lai Zhu appeared calm and composed. Silently pointed at himself. "That thing, I have long since integrated it into my body. If you want to, just come and take it. Hey, you want to trick me into getting close to you. Wait for the right moment to act." Wang Yufu, however, was unwilling to be fooled. You shake your head with a smile. What do you think? Would I be that foolish? Lai Zhu remained calm, looked at him coldly. You spent 15 years. Isn't it just that you want to have him? The opportunity is right in front of us now. But due to the fear in my heart, dare not approach me. Someone as timid as you. You are not qualified to obtain the Huanyang mirror curse. Wang Yufu was stunned for a moment, left speechless by Lai Zhu's words. The eyes were spinning rapidly. After much consideration, finally restored the smile on her face. Nods slightly. Good. I'm on my way. Anyway, your soul has already been locked away. I'm not afraid of you turning against me again. Finished speaking. Wang Yufu took out a few 7-inch long wooden nails from his pocket. A swift toss behind the back. He ruthlessly stabbed directly at Lai Zu's shoulder. Pachai. The first long nail pierced Lai Zu's left shoulder. She let out a cry of despair, fell heavily to the ground. Immediately, Wang Yufu threw out the second nail. Jaw struck Lai Zu's right arm, nailed half of her body to the ground. Lai Zu let out a painful scream. The face suddenly turned pale. My whole body started convulsing from the pain. Wang Yufu finally clapped his hands in satisfaction, said with a crooked smile, "Even though I'm not afraid of you. But to prevent any unforeseen events, be careful. It can't be wrong. Wen family, you worthless beast, worse than a pig or dog." Looking at Lai Zu, who fell to the ground in pain. I feel like my whole body is on fire. The anger burning in my chest also flooded into my mind. The whole person seemed like they were about to explode with anger. Wang Yufu sneered darkly. Do you pity her? So ridiculous. A woman who should have died long ago. Stay in this world. It was a mistake from the beginning. What I have done, it's just giving her a sense of relief. Then Wang Yufu directly squatted down next to Lai Zu, gripping her chin. Intimidatingly interrogate. Don't test my patience anymore. Hurry up. Where on earth did you hide that thing? Hidden in. It is hidden in my memory. Wang Yufu continued to provoke with his words, forcing Wang Yufu to come a little closer, until the distance between the two was less than half a meter. Wang Yufu wished he could plug his ears, when it was also near Lai Zu's lips. In his numb gaze, suddenly a box filled with malevolence spread out, suddenly opened his mouth wide, spitting out a mouthful of black smoke from the throat, directly sprayed onto Wang Yufu's forehead. This energy fills the crown. Wang Yufu desperately wanted to obtain the reviving serenity mantra. It's hard to imagine. Lai Zu with her limbs restrained. I can't believe they still have this trick up their sleeve. A moment of carelessness, immediately hit by that black mist on the forehead. Suddenly, a scream of despair echoed. Sobbing, I covered my face and fell down. Dark energy envelops the top, immediately corroded the flesh off his face. I heard the sizzling sound of melting. Staring blankly at Wang Yufu, he was pressing his hand tightly against his cheek. Let out a scream of extreme pain. A large amount of black blood is seeping through the gaps between the fingers. All fell through the gaps between the fingers and scattered on the ground. The plot took another turn. This sudden accident left me unable to react. When lost in thought, but a weak voice from Lai Zu reached my ears. Lai Fan, quickly help me pull out the soul-locking nail. Fast. I no longer have time to think. Upon hearing this, he endured the pain, without hesitation, grabbed the 2 wooden pegs. Give it your all. Suddenly pulled out the wooden nail embedded in Lai Zu. Yes, on the pulled out wooden nail, carrying black blood, almost splashed all over my face. I couldn't be bothered to wipe it. With great effort, they helped Lai Zu untangle the special fish net. The moment the fishing net was unveiled, Lai Zu also regained some strength. That chilling presence returned to her body once again, spreading wildly in all directions. Do you also want to achieve Hue Yang competition? Do you know what the prerequisite for obtaining her is? There are only dead people. Only then can you master her power. Finished speaking. Lai Zu's hair began to grow vigorously, tightly bound Wang Yufu, then frantically shrank down. Stinky woman, you indeed left a backup plan, but I'm not a pushover either. Wang Yufu can no longer bear the pain. Before those hairs tear her apart, she decisively pulled out a black talisman, facing the surging long hair. I pressed it hard against. With a flap, on Lai Zu's hair, a ghostly blue flame suddenly flared up. all covered long hair. All were suppressed by the fire serpent, unable to pose a threat to Wang Yufu anymore. Oh, you're hurt so badly. They can no longer kill me. Wang Yufu struggled to get up, looking at Lai Zu's now ugly face. On a face corroded and perforated, a malicious, ghostly laugh erupted. Last name Wan. Don't get too arrogant. Second master with serious injuries. He limped over here, taking advantage of Wang Yufu's wild laughter. Hug him from behind. Forcefully knocked the person to the ground. He acted like a mad dog, lying on Wang Yufu's body, fighting desperately with him. But Yi's getting old after all, and was seriously injured. After a while, Wang Yufu pushed him down to the ground. After taking a few punches, dark blood actually flowed from his mouth. Old thing, just shot you with a crossbow bolt, covered in the poison of the burning fan. You won't live much longer. Even if I die, I will support you through this. Yi's eyes were filled with desire. Hugging Wang Yufu, they rolled desperately. My heart feels like it's being stabbed. The hatred towards Wang Yufu. It was intense to the extreme. He also grabbed the dagger, stumbling and rushing over to join the battle, while they were wrapped in each other's embrace. Stabbed the tip of the knife into Wang Yufu's back. The blade cuts through flesh. This guy let out a scream more chilling than that of a pig being slaughtered, but the expression became even more frenzied. He waved his arm directly. Another punch to my stomach. I coughed up blood directly, dizzy from being beaten, completely unable to exert any strength. At this moment, Wang Yufu also gave his all, kicked open the two eyes, tightening my grip around your neck with both hands. Full of resentment, two eyeballs. I almost wish I could just burst it out. Little rabbit, you must die too. Wang Yufu, despite being severely injured, the strength is still enough to fight to the death. He is a cultivator. The power in my hands is terrifying. It felt like two gigantic iron pincers. It made me lose the strength to struggle. My eyes are flying. It feels like my soul is about to leave my body, floating up little by little. Just when feeling hopeless, a breath of bitterness echoed in my ear, mixed with a sorrowful sigh. Lio Fan, thank you. It brought me a glimpse of warmth that belongs to the human world. I'm leaving now. I hope this remaining strength. I can help you. With soft murmurs drifting by my ears, I feel my body. It felt like someone gently embraced me. A chill of icy breath, rushing wildly along my back. It unexpectedly merged into my blood and heart. I immediately felt my body. It seems like something has changed. That kind of cold and mysterious power gradually occupied my limbs. Correspondingly, the person behind me holding me tight, but is gradually becoming weaker. In the haze, I seem to see Lai Zu is waving goodbye to me. The body is becoming more and more faint, gradually turning into a blurry shadow, sank into an endless abyss. In a state of daze, I saw two lines of tears hanging by Lai Zu's cheeks, and a faint sigh lingered near my ear. I really want to keep this body. Let's continue our relationship. Unfortunately, we ultimately do not belong to the same world. I'm leaving. You must take good care of yourself. Take care of yourself. That kind of sorrowful call, fading away in my mind. Finally, even that vague shadow, it exploded with a thunderous roar, shattered like a mirror, formed a sky full of spiritual fire, suddenly opened his eyes. The eyes revealed a red blood blindness. Everything reflected in the view. All were shrouded in a strange blood-red hue. The next second, I reached out my hand directly. He grabbed Wang Yufu's neck from behind, muscles on the arm. Get wildly excited. Pull with all your strength. Unexpectedly pressed down by Wang Yufu, threw far away onto the ground. Wang Yufu collapsed on the ground, crying in pain, staring wide-eyed in disbelief. Pointing at me, he roared, "Kid, how could you? Not right. He actually gave that power to you. No, no. Old then, Kodai. At this moment, my heart is already filled with hatred. Completely ignoring Wang Yufu's roar, pushed hands hard against the ground and jumped up fiercely, with a flick of the legs, with speed beyond limits, jumped in front of him. Clench your fist tightly, facing Wang Yufu's forehead. He threw a powerful punch. Bang! With this punch, Wang Yufu's face was half collapsed. I faintly heard the sound of his skull cracking, unable to resist closing my eyes, enjoying the thrill of revenge. Wang Yufu let out a mournful cry, fell to the ground helplessly, the corner of the mouth twisted from being hit, spitting out several bloodied molars. Distant gaze, lying on the ground like a dead dog, unable to move any more. I glared at him with a cold expression. Each word carries weight. Wan family, I trusted you so much, but you not only plotted against me, it also harmed Second Master, harmed Lai Zhu. I will use your life to repay all of this. At this moment, in my heart, filled with endless rage, once again I clenched my fists, facing Wang Yufu's chest, smashed down hard. A crack echoed, the sound of a broken rib, accompanied by the sound of Wang Yufu continuously coughing up blood, like the most beautiful notes and melodies, whispering beautifully in my ear. I don't know what happened to me. It feels as if I possess limitless strength, facing Wang Yufu, a body that can no longer move, threw punch after punch, until he completely stopped breathing, completely unable to move, still numbly maintaining the punching motion. No intention of stopping at all. Child, enough. That's enough. I don't know how long it's been. A difficult cough echoed in my ears. I mechanically stopped the action of throwing my punch. Slowly turn your head. But I saw Yi had already embraced the stiff-bodied Lai Zhu. He collapsed nearby, his face ashen, gave me a heart-wrenching smile. He is already dead. You don't need to waste your effort anymore. Is it dead? I am hanging my head down, looking at his bloodied fists. Suddenly, my heart felt a deep sadness. It felt as if all the strength in my body had been completely drained away, plopped down onto the ground. Until now, I don't understand at all. Why did such a strong power suddenly surge within me? He actually killed Wang Yufu with his bare hands, just as I was lost in despair. When feeling confused, Second Master struggled to shift his body towards me, said with a grim face, "When Lai Zhu left, he gave you his ghost, Dan. Now, you are also like half a practitioner now." Lai Zhu left. My brain shook violently, not caring about what is real or fake anymore. Hastily turned around, looking at the one tightly held in Yi's arms. Lai Zhu's body had long become extremely stiff. My forehead buzzed as well. I just remembered, when I was almost choked to death by Wang Yufu, the words that suddenly flashed through my mind. It turns out, he really left. I feel extremely bitter. Tears flowed down uncontrollably, struggling to reach out with an arm, gently caressing Lai Zhu's smooth face. The vision was a blur. It's hard to describe what kind of emotion it is. Confusion, suffering, mixed with deep reluctance and shock. In that instant, it felt like 1,000 bittersweet emotions. At the same time, it surged to my heart. It makes my nose tingle. I wish I could hold Lai Zhu's corpse, wailing loudly, but I can't cry at all. All that fills my mind is deep confusion. There is still an unrealistic, dreamlike quality. Why did things turn out this way? Yi seemed to understand my feelings. A bitter smile, weakly shaking his head, he said, "Child, this is fate. I can only blame myself for being careless. You have also been drawn into this chain of cause and effect. The days to come, you'll have to rely on yourself." Listening to Second Master's words, I was momentarily stunned again, suddenly lifted his head, looking at Yi's face, which had already turned a ghastly pale. Quivering lips said, "Grandfather, you You too. I'm leaving. Before I die. Setting off on the road with my daughter. It's not a wasted life after all. Uri calmly shook his head, forced a smile. The gaze became exceptionally weary and hazy. That crossbow bolt just now, it was coated with snake venom, persisted until now. I already, I. Uri didn't finish speaking, then began to cough violently. I noticed a lot of blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. Those blood springs are all black. He also emanated an extremely strong, fishy odor. That is the poison of the burning fan. I instantly panicked. They helped Second Master up in a flurry. The dead voice shouted, "Second Master, you can't die. You'll be fine. The last time I was bitten by the burning fan, you clearly healed me. You must have a solution, right? Quick, take it out." "Todd, it's useless." Second Master wearily pushed my hand away. "Mayan wrong, Yisu," he warned word by word. "I will soon follow my daughter. Before death, I have more to say to you. You be sure to remember clearly. Tears have long blurred my vision." I looked at Second Master, who had a contemptuous expression, nodding with a choked voice. "Grandfather, I'm listening." Uri struggled to extend his hand. He pointed forcefully at my heart. He said with difficulty, "Lizu had long grown weary of this world. Before he left, I gave you the ghost Dan that I had condensed for over 10 years. You have already gained his power, but you are just an ordinary person, completely unaware of what cultivation truly is. I don't know how to properly utilize the power of the ghost Dan. So, this thing may become your burden, unless you can embark on the path of cultivation, learn how to refine a ghost pill. Otherwise, in the future, the 1st and 15th of each month, the ghostly energy of Gooey Dan will erupt, tormented to the point of wishing for death. In the long run, you will also become a living dead person." Uri continued speaking. More thick, black blood surged from my mouth. "I am extremely sad." Pressing hard on the faintly beating heart of Second Master, choked up and said, "Grandfather, please don't say that." Uri exerted all his strength, opened my hands, said very seriously, "Backward, under that rock by the mountain, there is a secret room. It is filled with everything I have learned in my lifetime. There is a book of the dead inside. In addition to recording some Feng Shui secrets, it also recorded some methods of cultivation. I want you to inherit this. You must learn the content above. Do you know?" I know. I have already been there." I desperately hold back my tears. Crazy nodding. HMPH. "Then I can rest assured." Re no longer spoke. Lean your body back gently, in the embrace. Still holding onto Lizu tightly. The body has long been cold. Closed his eyes with a calm expression. Re walked away with a smile. Departure. The night has dispersed. The rain brightens the sky. The tranquil morning light spills down, reflected on the smiling faces of Second Master and Lizu. Seemed so strange, so tranquil again. Elder Second must have been very satisfied before he died. At least, he paid with his life, compensated for the biggest regret of this lifetime. Met his daughter on the road to the underworld. I guard 2 corpses that have long grown cold. A chill ran through my heart. Kneeling quietly in place, like a wood carving. I don't know how long it has been. I have just gradually accepted reality, struggling to stand up, remove the body of Uri and Lizu. They were transported to that pit. No turning back. I laid down hay for them, silently took out the lighter, watching the flames gradually consume the 2 corpses. A feeling of sorrow fills my heart. All troubles stem from Yamwengu. It all ends here. Second Master and Lizu have both left. I am the only one left. Where should we go from here? I felt dazed. Mooney turned around, just about to walk down the mountain path, when I looked back, but I saw a familiar figure Jiang is quietly sitting on the stone, crossing his legs. He watched this scene coldly while smoking. Old man Gu, I was stunned for a moment. Instinctively take 2 steps back. One cut short. You didn't die. I will definitely not die. Last night, I intentionally walked into that female ghost's trap. It is all to reveal what lies behind all of this. Old Master Gu took a deep puff from his cigarette, blowing smoke rings from his mouth. Staring at me blankly, they said, I just didn't expect it. This female ghost's illusion is so powerful. I spent an entire evening on this. Finally managed to walk out smoothly. Hurry up or take it slow. I was still a step too late. I see. My face feels numb. Amar said, nothing matters anymore. The matter has been resolved. Lai Zhu and my second uncle, they all went to the place they were meant to be. But the problem is, where did Yang Jingju actually go? Old Master Gu shook his neck, leaped down from the stone effortlessly, walked quickly to my front, stretch out a withered hand, resting on my shoulder. If you knew, just take it out. I didn't speak, silently gazed at Grandfather Gu's face, a face surrounded by wrinkles. It took a long time to finally say it. You are getting close to my goal. It is also to obtain Yang Jingju. Yes, not really. Old Master Gu nodded, shaking his head again, silently fixed her gaze on the place where I burned the bodies. He sighed deeply and said, once that thing is left behind, destined to become a disaster. My goal is to destroy it, but rather to possess it. I let out a sigh of relief. Then your goal has been achieved. But Lai Zhu left, did not reveal her whereabouts. As she walked away, no one in the world will ever know again the hiding place of Yang Jingju. Maybe. Old Master Gu silently withdrew his hand, muttered softly to himself, then waved his hand. I indicated for her to come down the mountain with me. On the road, we didn't say a word to each other. I limped along behind Grandpa Gu, looking at his aged and emaciated figure. I wanted to say something a few times, but they couldn't bring themselves to speak. Old Master Gu turned his back to me, but it seems he knows my inner thoughts. Suddenly smiled. What would you like to ask? I said, why do you know too? The existence of Yang Jingju. Old Master Gu laughed, though I haven't looked back. But there was a hint of wildness hidden in the tone. The secret of Yang Jingju. It was discovered by me and your second uncle together. I certainly know. I was taken aback. Suddenly exclaimed, Dude, when they blasted the mountain back then, you are here too. Old Master Gu did not answer me, just quietly stopped my footsteps. Me and your second uncle. Everyone is involved in this secret. Just that your second uncle has long given up on the investigation, and I, yet still continuing to investigate. Everything about him. These words leave me in a fog. Confusion once again filled her eyes. He slapped his forehead hard and said, what secret is it? Can you explain it all at once? Old Master Gu shook his head, clearly unwilling to tell me. This has nothing to do with you. An outsider? Why bother digging for the root of the matter? I'm feeling discouraged. Said helplessly, can you tell me? What is my true identity? Old Master Gu smiled. He said mysteriously, I can only tell you. Decades ago, I come from the same organization as your second uncle. In theory, he still has to call me Shishu. I was wrong. Speechless for a moment, old Gu laughed even more mysteriously. All right. It's all just matters of decayed branches and broken bones. No need to delve deeper. You better come back with me quickly. Resolve the troubles you have on yourself. Haven't all the issues been resolved? What other trouble could I have? Grandpa Gu's words. I was momentarily taken aback. Just as I was about to speak up against him, Wanmu felt a chilling cold surge through his body. The heart began to contract and pulse violently. An invisible chill suddenly surged from the position of my heart. following the flow of blood, suddenly struck my brain. Next second, I immediately felt a sharp pain in my head. His entire body was wrapped in an invisible chill, as if trapped in an ice cellar. Every cell feels cold to the bone. Suddenly, a scream erupted. Before I could say anything, I felt my vision darkening. Jingjai collapsed at old Master Gu's feet. This time I fell into a confused faint. The duration continues endlessly. I have no idea what is happening to me. I only felt a chill entering my body. It suddenly struck the crown of the head. Suddenly my vision went dark. In an instant, the world spun around. Then he fell into a deep slumber. I have been sinking in darkness for a long time. In a daze, I suddenly felt my body become very hot. It's like being roasted over a big iron pot on a fire. The pain is making my eyes blurry. I subconsciously opened my eyes. Then I saw I really got stuffed into a large wooden barrel. In the wooden barrel, many dark herbs are simmering, under the high temperature roasting of the medicinal broth. A faint green steam filled the air. It feels like my body is being roasted like cured meat. Below my neck, it is all hot liquid that has been roasted. These liquids are pitch black. There is still a lot of thick black substance penetrating through my pores, gradually merging with these liquids, emitting a strange, fishy odor. Whoa, what's going on? I was suddenly startled awake. I can't care about feeling uncomfortable all over, immediately ready to jump out of the wooden tub filled with hot water. At this moment, a crying hand suddenly appeared beside me, pressing down on my shoulders. He forcibly pushed me back down. Kane, don't move. Aivu, gaining weight. Tan, I remember. Dynamic. Buy fa dessert. Take my body. Pop up a circle. A circle. A stissel. It is evident that in my heart I have long considered you the closest person. Unfortunately, he ultimately still ignored it. You are an ordinary person. Still don't understand cultivation. Cannot bear this chill of power at all. Instead, it backfired. Almost caused you trouble. Booey Dan. Listening to Grandpa Goo's words, I immediately widened my eyes instinctively. I was dazed for quite a while. This reminded me of yesterday morning, after Lai Zhu said goodbye to me. From my body, the sudden surge of power. If I remember correctly, before second uncle's death, you once told me something similar. I was just too sad at that time. After handling his corpse, in the blink of an eye, this matter was completely forgotten. Thinking of this, my face turned a little pale again. I couldn't help but shiver. Hurry up and visit. Uncle, so what should I do now? What should I do? Aren't I saving you? Old Master Gu shot me a glance, suddenly dropped the cigarette. He stood up and tapped the wooden barrel. I added a lot of herbs in here, specifically used to restrain your wicked cold condition. Don't be anxious. Continue staying in the barrel for a few hours. Just wait until I call you out. You will be fine. Finished speaking. Elder Gu continued to add some firewood below. Fortunately, the firewood is quite far from the wooden barrel. It's not like we're going to boil the water in the barrel. Just kept it at a constant 50 to 60 degrees. It's like boiling a frog in warm water. It makes me feel very uncomfortable all over. It feels hot and uncomfortable. Fortunately, these medicines are truly effective. After a long time of soaking, the cold poison that spreads through my limbs and veins. Also following the permeation of the medicine's power, slowly forced out of the body. 2 hours later, I can clearly feel the water in the wooden barrel has turned quite dark. The sauce also appears to be quite thick, became sticky, like a puddle of ink. Until this moment, old Master Gu slowly walked over, throw me a clean set of clothes, signal me that I can come out now. Thank you, sir. I hurriedly jumped out of the wooden barrel, looking at my body soaked and reddened. Couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. Quickly put on the clothes. He said to old man Gu, "This time I truly owe it to you. Otherwise, my cold symptoms will worsen. It probably won't be that easy to recover. Healing. However, old man Gu, upon hearing this, but immediately put on a cold smile as a facade. I said with my hands behind my back, "You really think too simplistically about this. That ghostly Dan is the essence of his being. The evil cold energy accumulated over the years is all inside, now rooted within you. It's not that easy to drive it away." I was stunned, retorting to Grandpa Gu, "How should we handle that?" Old Master Gu shook his head. "This ghost Dan won't digest for a day. It will forever accumulate coldness within me. From now on, every 1st and 15th day of the month, I will be in unbearable pain. The only way to resolve him. You must start learning how to fix the law from now on. When will it be? Your abilities are so strong that, when he can refine himself independently, naturally there's no need to endure his antics anymore." Oh, got it. Grandpa Gu's explanation regarding what second master had been watching me before. Coincidental agreement, it seems. This is indeed the only way to. Ways to help me overcome difficulties. But I have never formally practiced since I was young. So far, in addition to having a basic understanding of Feng Shui, yet I don't even know where the door to cultivation opens. How can we resolve this? It seems to see through my thoughts. Old Master Gu laughed again, gently tapped my forehead. In the morning, I pointed to the shop inside. "Your second uncle is quite something. He is also a Feng Shui master. How could there be no path to cultivation at home? When you have time, make sure to look around carefully. Make sure to take some time to study on your own," I said with a face. Regarding the matter of cultivation, before leaving, Ri did give some instructions. Cultivation is not that easy. Distant waters can't quench immediate thirst. The reason why second master is so formidable, it relies on a lifetime of cultivation and experience. And I have just begun. How can one easily gain access to such a place? The cold poison of this ghostly pill. It occurs every half-month. I'm afraid I won't learn it in time. He has already died suddenly due to the cold poison." Old Master Gu laughed and said, "You don't need to worry about that, to send the Buddha off to the West. Since I encountered your matter, we can't just ignore it. This herbal prescription, it's what I just prepared for you. From now on, whenever the cold poison strikes, you should prepare a dose of medicine for yourself in advance, taking continuously for 2 days. Nature can minimize the pain of an outbreak." Finished speaking, Old Master Gu directly handed over the prescription, reminded me to be very careful in keeping it. I received the prescription. Thank him once again. Old Man Gu waved his hand with a smile, said it's not needed anymore. If fate allows in the future, perhaps we will meet again. I hope by that time I can see you've undergone a complete transformation, become a real man. I was stunned. Listen to what old Master Gu means. Even he wants to leave. I came here to investigate the matter of Yan Wengbu. Now the problem has been solved. Still not leaving? What are you doing here? Facing my doubts. Old Master Gu stroked his beard and smiled, again stretching out, gently patted me on the shoulder. "Liao Fan, before I leave, I have something to tell you. You must remember, cultivation is just cultivation. A person, only by maintaining a strong heart. Only then can one remain unaffected by worldly influences. The path of pursuing perfection. The old man certainly doesn't wish for that. The incident that happened to your second uncle back then. Once again, retribution falls upon you." My face turned pale. Ji Urbajin nodded in assurance. Uncle, nod and smile, then turned around, picked up his own burlap sack, walking out of the funeral parlor, swaying his head. I stood dazed at the doorway, watching him slowly walk away. There is both melancholy in my heart, still carrying some confusion and doubt. From beginning to end, I don't know at all. What is the background of this old man? He cares so much about Yan Wangu's matters. So-called. What is it really? After much contemplation, I can't find the answer. I could only watch as old Master Gu walked away, let out a long sigh, then, dragging his exhausted body, returned to the backyard again. Spent quite a bit of effort. I pried open the boulder against the mountain. Once again I crawled into the basement. Ye may be gone, but the Feng Shui signs he piled up in the basement, and various cultivation methods. But it became a huge fortune left to me. I do not seek to be like him, become a true top-tier Feng Shui master, just seeking to pass through these cultivation methods, learn a bit of self-protection skills. Meanwhile, I will also dissolve the remaining toxins within myself, search the entire basement. I finally found it at the very bottom of the bookshelf. I found the Book of the Dead that second uncle mentioned. The title of this book sounds strange. In fact, it was excerpted. It is some biting phrases about Feng Shui divination. The latter half includes many methods for meditation and practice, including the battle of bullets, trail, pu, forbidden spells, etc. The entire book is written in classical Chinese. It includes many of Yi's personal insights. Write with a red pen in the gaps of the characters. All are written in silver-headed, small script. A thick book filled with dense content. The light alone is enough to make one dizzy. While I was still in school, the language skills are quite good. Facing the thick, brick-like books, still able to barely focus and study. In the time that followed, I closed the shop, dedicating oneself to research at home. Memorize the content of the book word for word. Carefully chew and ponder. Every day brings new gains. In the eyes of the ancients, what is called cultivation? It is through inner contemplation, in harmony with nature, and through the accumulation of day and night and sincere prayers. The aura of nature, guide into one's own body, waiting for that day. I have mastered the feeling of Kai. It can be considered a reluctant step into the world of cultivators. But mastering the energy, it's not that easy either. But I have never been able to take that crucial step. In addition, Lai Zu's ghost pill, still lingering on me, occasionally creates some crises for me, encouraged me to study harder. This went on for about half a year. Although I have made some progress, it's still just barely. But it is still far from becoming a true TENS. There is still quite a distance. What's even worse is, closed off for half a year. I sit at home all day, consuming resources. There is no spare money to continue working behind closed doors. For the sake of upgrading, I had to reopen the funeral parlor, want to return to old ways. Back when second master was still around, the funeral parlor door is quietly waiting. Every now and then, there will always be business opportunities. But now, people leave and the tea cools. I am still too young. He doesn't seem like a proper Feng Shui master at all. Back and forth. Even some old customers from the past refused to visit again. It left me destitute. Every day I can only live on steamed buns and pickled vegetables. Life is too bare. These days, everyone admires science. Long ago, Feng Shui was regarded as a scholarly discipline. Treat it as remnants of feudalism. Not many believed this. Occasionally, someone comes to the door. It was mostly out of curiosity. Let's chat casually. Even this past half-month, I didn't catch a single thing. This is when I finally understood what second master said back then. Doing this line of work already belongs to Western industries. If young people don't adapt soon, you will end up starving to death on the streets sooner or later. It's a coincidence. Just as I was pondering, this won't work out like this. Should we just close the door? When I ran to the construction site looking for a job, but it marked the first generation of business in his life. That afternoon, I'm, as usual, guarding at the shop entrance, focusing intently on the phone. Highlight a flashy advertisement for a luxury ball. Unexpectedly, I heard footsteps coming from the doorway. Ears perked up, quickly raised their head, saw a young person, a girl in her early 20s, dressed in a stylish little leather skirt, walking towards me. Then, what is this? I'm a bit confused. The Feng Shui business has always been struggling, even if there are occasional customers visiting. Most of them are elderly people in their 50s and 60s online. Such a young client. This is my first time seeing this. This girl has a tall and slender figure, a mysterious scent of perfume wafted from her body. The bag on my hand. At first glance, it's clearly a brand name, with delicate features. The sun is smooth and rosy. It should be explained that the parents are quite wealthy. Your family background must be quite good. It's just at her parents' palace. Belongs to a single-parent family. At this moment, the girl has already walked in front of me. She didn't even look at me, and nodded. Say it right. I am here for divination, she said while peeking behind me curiously. After a while, he said again, Handsome died. Where is the master of this house? Why didn't you come out to work? As soon as I heard this, I became unhappy. What's going on? Look at me when I was young. Is it because you have no ability? I cough once, tap the table corner with a finger. Beautiful woman. I am Mr. Guan from this shop. So young. Can I also become a master? The girl was shocked, looked down at me again. There was a hint of suspicion in her eyes, but more often there is just disdain. I am also a strong guy full of energy, young and inexperienced, unable to endure the disdain of others. Immediately stood up and said, You don't believe it, do you? Then let me read your fortune first. If it's not allowed, I won't take a single cent. Speaking, I will share what I just saw. Ask her, is it that the parents are divorced? The family is not harmonious. Although these years have been worry-free in terms of food and clothing, but life goes on. I've been feeling really down. These superficial face-reading skills. Generally, con artists in the giant who martial arts world always. But I spoke with precision, well regulated and orderly. But this girl started to have feelings. Hurry and bring your face closer. Let me continue. It's been a long time since the opening. Finally found a client. I thought about it. Nature cannot let her leave. So he carefully observed her for a while. She discovered a mole on the girl's forehead. Although small, it is quite noticeable. Dark red color. Shan and Minxian have a lot of overlap. It should be a face marked by hardship and misfortune in early years. So slowly and leisurely said, You've had a weak constitution since you were little. You must have been sick quite a bit, especially at the age of 12 or 13. Also suffered from a serious illness. Almost cost you your life. After turning 16, caught up in my parents' divorce again. Relationship with family members, it shouldn't have been good all along. As soon as I finished speaking, the girl couldn't wait to come up. A hand grabbed my arm. Master, you are a master. I can't believe you saw it so clearly. That's right. My parents did indeed get divorced. In recent years, my relationship with my parents, it's only getting worse. Moreover, the body is deteriorating. I've been feeling unwell. Went to the hospital, but couldn't find anything. Where is the problem exactly? She spoke a lot in one breath, and the more they talked, the more excited they became. They even wanted to press their face right up against it. I looked at the girl's cool outfit, slightly bowing her head, a trace of blood white on her neck. Not only swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Quickly pull your hand back and say, Don't get excited just yet. The issues in your family are hard to discuss. It's easy to say, but also easy to do. It's all just for the sake of profit. All the frustrations. It all stems from dissatisfaction with the distribution of benefits. I didn't say anything wrong, did I? Wealthy families usually. They are troubled by the allocation of financial power. This girl's age is just in her early 20s. It's not yet the time for economic independence. And the Jupiter autumn pants on the palm. The ripples have not yet emerged. It's clearly a handful of scattered colors. I can tell at a glance. Her biggest conflict with her family, most likely because of money. She nodded, hastily said, "Master, you are truly amazing." It is indeed like that. After my dad got divorced, found another flirtatious vixen outside, he also plans to marry that vixen. I've had my share of arguments these days. We have made a scene before, but she simply didn't listen. You scolded me for meddling in the affairs of the previous generation. I can't stand it anymore. Just block the entrance of that vixen's building." He slapped her across the face. "My dad is also angry. They directly canceled my credit card. After listening to the girl's story, I find it a bit amusing yet frustrating. Xin Shuo, this family's situation is really chaotic. Of course, these have nothing to do with me." Watching the girl's increasingly excited face. But in my heart, I only think of how to make some extra money from her. It's better to get through this difficult time. Stop her from continuing to speak. Stop calling everyone a master. I'm not much older than you. My surname is Liu, if you don't mind. Just call me Liu G. By the way, what should I call you, ma'am? Only then did she stop. Said with a pout, "My name is Men-Na." I asked Men-Na again, "What is the true purpose of coming to find me?" She hesitated for a moment. Then they became suspicious and paranoid. Spoke very softly. "Liu Ji, do you believe there are ghosts in this world? Clear blue sky and bright sun. Where did the ghost come from?" I couldn't help but chuckle, shaking their head continuously. Ghosts are such things. In the end, it's just a grudge. It is something that ordinary people typically do not encounter. After all, people have the path of sunshine. The ghosts have the Nade Bridge. Under normal circumstances, humans and ghosts follow different paths. It's hard to encounter a gathering together. Moreover, Mahjong County may be small, but there are also tens of thousands of people. So many people gathered in a county town at the same time unconsciously elevated the city's sophistication, as long as it's not in a specific situation. Ordinary people are unlikely to encounter ghosts. Seeing me say this, Mona instead appeared very dejected. Furrowed brow, Momo quietly said, "Sorry to disturb you," then turned to leave. I finally waited a long time for the client. How could I let her go so easily? Hurry and catch up to say, "Don't worry. Here we are. What exactly happened to you? Feel free to let me know. What if I could look you in the eye?" Mona came to a stop, hesitated once more. She pursed her lips and said, "I said it. You can't laugh at me like others do." I nodded. Let her rest assured. This little bit of professional integrity. There are still some. Mona said again, "I suspect that I've encountered a ghost. After the woman outside. Just move out directly. Has rarely come back. Since shortly after her father left, strange happenings continue endlessly. First, the cherry blossom tree planted in the courtyard. Cried to death for no reason. Raised in the well of the pond. And inexplicably turned over. The more bizarre part is that Mona sleeps every night. Will fail. It seems like something has been added to the room, constantly hovering around my bedside. It made her feel restless, having nightmares throughout the night. I often wake up in the middle of the night. I have seen many doctors. Those doctors just keep telling me to get tests done. What is swallowing blood? What is CT? They almost did an MRI too. But still, no results could be found. Later, I met a neurologist. He prescribed me some sleeping pills. Don't say it. Took sleeping pills. I can fall asleep quickly. It's just that every time it gets late at night, I will still be awakened by that tingling sensation. When Mona describes the situation, a strange sense of terror lingered in his gaze. It seems they're afraid I won't believe them. Gripping my arm tightly, they said, Lioji, it's true. I sleep until midnight every day. That sense of unease and restlessness. It will definitely appear. Feeling. It feels like someone is. I touched my nose. Looking at Mona's face, tense and covered in blood. She doesn't seem to want to lie anymore. Unfortunately, I am too inexperienced in this field. There isn't much experience handling situations like this. For a while, still can't see any clues. I can only say, how about this? If it's convenient for you, just take me to see where I live. I want to conduct an on-site investigation. Only then can it be confirmed. What exactly happened at your home? To be honest, I don't believe that Mona really encountered a ghost. The first reaction is there a problem with the Feng Shui of her house? Based on her described reaction, it felt more like some places had been struck by a curse. Okay, Liog, please follow me. As long as you can help me solve this trouble. How much does it cost? Just speak. No wonder she's the eldest daughter of a wealthy family. Stepping out is extravagant. After I brought her to the door, immediately attracted by a red sedan parked by the roadside. As soon as I saw the car emblem, it turns out to be the BMW I've longed for since I was young. I couldn't help but sigh. This small county town of 18 counties. Rich people really don't have much urgency. This time, be sure to take her down decisively. Let's treat it as robbing the rich to help the poor. But when I got on the car, after following Mona to her big villa, but I couldn't smile inside. Her family situation. It seems to be more serious than I thought. Mona's family is indeed very wealthy. They lived in one of the top luxury villa areas in the county. Usually, before construction begins in such villa areas, they often invite professional Feng Shui masters for on-site inspections. Generally, there won't be any major issues with Feng Shui. The scenery of her community is truly nice. The community entrance is surrounded by mountains and water. Can Feng Napai, especially the flower bed in the center of the community. The next part is built with raw stones. White elephant stone sculptures are arranged around the flower bed. Can stabilize this area's Feng Shui. It's strange to think that when I stepped into the Mona family courtyard, but immediately sensed a strange aura. I can't describe it myself. Where did the problem occur? Anyway, it just feels really bad. The villas of wealthy families have very spacious courtyards, especially in Mona's courtyard. It's almost as if I've opened an entire funeral parlor. In front of the door is a rockery carved from raw stone. 2 rows of green plants stand tall like canopies. It looks like silver carved pine. The growth is very promising. Just passed through the vestibule. When I came to her house to eat beside the well, I caught a particularly strong and pungent smell, looking down at the surface of the water. It turns out there are indeed several large wells turned upside down, rising and falling on the water's surface. I pinched my nose. Looking at Mona, he said, "The fish at home died. Why aren't you hurrying to find someone to clean up the murky gas released by these dead fish? Not only will it degrade water quality, it will also affect the Feng Shui layout of your home. Long term, family will definitely be affected." Mona shook her head. Now she can't even take care of herself. Where is there any leisure to clean the fish pond? Moreover, I have asked someone to clean it up before, but the frequency of dead fish these days is too high. Just finished fishing today. Tomorrow, more dead fish will surface. It made the property management unhappy. After hearing this, it is also located at a relatively high position in the entire community, a 3-story building. You can overlook half of the county town's environment. With each step up, the scenery scene is not entirely the same. The meaning of rising step by step in dark river Feng Shui. I looked around the courtyard for a long time. I still can't see any clue. Mona was a bit impatient. Come towards me. Ask me if I really noticed anything. I shake my head. Another request was made. I want to take a look into her bedroom." Mona was taken aback, but in the end he still nodded, turned around and led me to his bedroom. Her bedroom window faces north. In the distance there is a small artificial lake. The view is also quite expansive. I stood in the room and thought for a long time. He fixed his gaze on the window, on the small artificial lake less than 50 meters wide, frowned and said, "How is the developer going to build an artificial lake here? The lake is too close to your bedroom window. It's usually fine. Once you enter it, there will be a large amount of water vapor evaporating, seeping into your room through the window. Over time, even young people may not be able to withstand it." Mona quickly said, "Lioji, your consciousness, all the problems in my family stem from this artificial lake." I shake my head. It's not that simple. Then continue to inspect around the room. To be honest, growing up like this, it's my first time entering a girl's room too, looking at the various toys and ornaments scattered throughout the bedroom. I always feel a bit uneasy inside. A few minutes passed again. I suddenly, under Mona's bedside, I caught a faint whiff of decay, although not rich, but it was exceptionally obvious. Suddenly a thought crossed his mind. Let her move away a little. After that, both feet were used together. Pushed open that large wooden bed, stacking the bedside. A broken floor appeared before me. It is an event. The stench of corruption clearly comes from below. A spark ignited in my heart. Gently pry open the floorboards. Take a closer look, but discover beneath the floor, still buried a section. Bones entangled with red thread. The bones are silver gray. It was smeared with an unknown powder. I guess these translucent powders. It should be some kind of sound material. Next is the end of the red line, still tied with a string. A photo that has been crumpled by someone. The photo was pierced with a nail, stuck firmly in one place. Carefully examine the spot where the photo was pierced by a nail. Just right corresponds to Meng Na's heart. I suddenly gasped in shock, looking back at Meng Na. These past few days, every time you sleep through the latter half of the night, will you feel gloomy? Palpitations. It felt like a stone was weighing down on me. I can't catch my breath no matter how I turn. Yes, people say this is called sleep paralysis. Is it true? Listen to what I have to say. Meng Na was also flustered. With a pale face, he crouched down and asked me, "It's not sleep paralysis. It's more serious than that." I took a deep breath. Re-examine. The photo pierced by a nail. Staring blankly for a long time, Kai slowly said, "This is called a wish spell. Your family. This is cursed by someone using evil Feng Shui." When I just entered, I've been puzzled. The Feng Shui layout of this community is quite good. It won't go so far as to bring disaster. Moreover, the Feng Shui fish pond placed in front of the courtyard. It has the effect of dispelling disasters and calming troubles. Even if this building, is there really a place that can bring misfortune? Relying on that, well, it should be enough to resolve it. Only now do I understand. Emotions are tied to people. Infiltrated Menya's villa. Another Feng Shui talisman was placed at her home, independent of the entire community's Feng Shui. So, only Meng Na faces the consequences. I looked at that silvery white bone. After a long pause, Chen Yi finally spoke. "This curse is quite troublesome. It should be using the bone spell cast by the cat spirit. After you fall asleep every day, the cat spirit will press down on your chest. That's why you're struggling to catch your breath. Of course, the other party's intentions are not just this. Stray cats are particularly sinister creatures. Been changed yin and yang, also a medium. The other party cast a curse using the bones of a cat spirit. The power far surpasses ordinary curses. What they want is to leave Meng Na in a daze, accumulated over time, long-term infection by the resentment of the cat spirit. As time went on, it will disturb their mind, drive her mad, do various irrational things, even jumping off a building, or perhaps to kill under the influence of a dark curse. Thinking of this, I was already drenched in sweat. Just stand up and speak. Forget it. I won't do this business anymore. The money will be refunded to you. You should find someone else. Meng Na immediately became anxious, holding my hand tightly, unable to say it. You agreed to take my business. How could one give up halfway? It's been such a short time. Where can I find another Feng Shui master? In this era, there are charlatans in the world of wandering, practitioners who deceive with fake medicine. It's easy to find. Few can see through the cat spirit curse at a glance. Men Da is not foolish. It feels like they are clutching at a lifeline, pulling me along, refusing to let go at all. I'd also have no way out. I can only force a bitter smile and say, to be honest, I haven't been in this line for long. Cannot compare to a true professional Feng Shui master. This question is quite troublesome. It may not be able to help you either. Curses are not that simple. This involves breaking the law. And once the person who cast the spell, realizing that his dark curse has been broken, they will definitely come to find trouble with me in person. I am too new to the industry. I simply don't have the ability to manage this matter. My request has exceeded my abilities. This problem is too tricky. I don't want to care at all, afraid it would bring disaster upon oneself. Kim Mena, however, put on a deadpan expression, kept insisting on talking to me. Not possible. You have already collected the deposit. There's no giving up halfway. If you run away now, I will report you for fraud. Let the police arrest you. Her unreasonable attitude. Immediately, it extinguished my anger. What crime is the greatest these days? Nature is a serious crime against the law. We work in this line of business. There is still no business license. All transactions with the client, all limited to verbal agreements. Once she reported it. It's hard for me to say. It seems there is no hope of escaping. I can only say bitterly, all right, today I stay here. I broke the cat bell curse for you. As for other matters, I won't interfere. From now on, take care of yourself. Although it hurts to see, I don't want to get into this trouble. But since there is a commitment to the client, I can't really just ignore it either. You should know. This cat bell curse is quite tricky. Once entangled with Hujiu, will not leave easily. Not driving men not crazy. Never give up. She was able to find me before going insane. It can be considered a kind of fate. After a while, after calming down, I asked Meng Na to find a copper basin. Go to the kitchen and fetch a basin of clean water. First, set up a yang formation inside the villa. Broke the deadly formation in her room. Feng Shui in this profession. It can harm people and also save them. It all depends on the person who set up this Feng Shui formation, how to adapt to local conditions. Which type of magic circle should we set up? Meng Na, however, was puzzled. Zhu asked me what I was planning to do. Why not directly dispose of the cursed cat's corpse? First deal with it. I patiently explained to her. It's not that simple. The opponent's purse has been successfully set up. Even if we were to discard the old cat's bones now, the cat bell will also appear at specific times. The thing under the floor is just a shadow. To lose or not to lose, there is not much difference. Meng Na felt nervous again. With a worried face, he asked me what I planned to do. I didn't say anything. Let her hurry and do as I say. Then he held out the gong, found the 5 yellow needle positions of this villa. Place that basin of clear water on top. He took a few more peachwood nails. Sprinkle clean water. Buried in 7 directions outside the villa. Only 1 floor remains. Waiting for that cat bell to come knocking tonight. Afterwards, I was in the backyard of the villa. Found a sheep cave. Anointing with vermilion. Another large basket of glutinous rice was brought in, after everything is ready, and returned to his living room. Patiently continued to wait. To be honest, Just thinking about tonight. May face the challenge of breaking the formation. I feel a bit anxious. Reflecting on the time since second uncle's death, I just lock myself at home every day to work in solitude. Although I have learned many Feng Shui incantations, but has never had any combat experience. I don't even know my own half-baked skills. Can we help the client overcome the crisis? They waited like this until evening. Meng Na is complaining that she's hungry, thinking about ordering takeout. But I called out to him slash her, shook their head in warning. Tonight, don't go anywhere, as I instructed. Go to bed on time after the designated hour. Remember to lock the door. I didn't say you absolutely can't come out. The cat bell curse can be easily broken. I still don't have a sincere grasp of it in my heart. Qi Mengna refuses to listen to me, the young lady of a wealthy family. Temper is just stubbornness. Said they were hungry, feeling afraid again. How could I possibly sleep? Said they have low blood sugar, not filling the belly. I just can't fall asleep. I'm also fed up. I can only follow her lead. Ran back to the living room to continue staying there. Check the arrangement around you. Is there a problem? But a little while later, the doorbell rang outside the villa. There is someone with dark skin. A tall and thin delivery person knocked and came in, peeking and scrutinizing the arrangement of the living room in the villa. Meng Na asked again, "Miss Man, this gentleman is your friend." Meng Na obviously knows this delivery person. Smiling in response, pointed at me. This person is a Feng Shui master. Specifically came to help me avoid bad Feng Shui. The delivery worker with dark skin let out a groan, looking at me sideways. I nodded. That's right. I've been feeling unwell these past few days. I don't feel like going out shopping, so I've been staying at home, relying on takeout to get by, back and forth. Just got familiar with the food delivery person. I nodded. You are a girl. Again home alone. It's best to be a little cautious usually. Don't always provoke outsiders to come knocking. Not very safe. Mengna is full and satisfied, feeling much better, just looking at me and giggling. Said brother, you look like this. You're not that old after all. Why is your personality so rigid? Just like my dad. I trembled slightly. Jeer shook his head with a bitter smile. Not in the pit. The poor man's child takes charge. I am a person without a childhood. Natural performance. Different from most of my peers. After barely managing to deal with 2 bites, I sat down again. It's getting late. Hurry up and get back to the bedroom, Meng Na. She refused. Lowered my head to fiddle with my phone. Is it still early? I usually go to sleep after midnight. I went to the bedroom so early, but I couldn't fall asleep. Just thinking that Cat Bell might appear tonight. She felt a bit uneasy inside. No longer have the courage to sleep. Why not sit with me in the living room? Let's chat. To boost my own courage. I'm really impressed by this girl. Shaking his head firmly. Not aloud. I will help you set up in the evening. No time for small talk. And there is a woman by my side. I can't unleash my power either. Hurry back to the bedroom. I have already arranged it for you. I will guard outside. That thing can't get in to disturb you. All right. Meng Na is still unhappy. He stood up with a frown. A dismissive snort escaped her lips. Male chauvinism. Really old-fashioned. Hearing the client's feedback about me. I can only smile bitterly to myself. Let him be a straightforward guy. I have never been liked by the opposite sex. But this is also quite good. Watching Meng Na return to the bedroom, I quietly stood up. Arriving at the fishing pond outside the villa, took the bamboo pole, pulling several floating objects from the well to the shore. Enduring the foul smell of the ancient heart, mashed the dead fish, got some guts and entrails from dead fish, put them into the broken plate, set aside in the position of the ghostly officer. Mao Ling is also a cat. It is through the tragic death of a wild cat trap through dark magic enhancement, the fierce bell that was just cultivated, although there is a lot of resentment. But essentially, they cannot escape the nature of feline creatures. This thing likes the comforting things in life. Place these dead fish entrails. It is also to attract its attention. Everything is ready, and lit a pair of bamboo sticks, placed in the center of the living room, then quietly pushed it to the corner of the living room, holding something used to ward off evil, deciding to wait by the tree for a hare. Almost 2 hours passed. The night has already fallen deeply. I yawned. I feel drowsy at this moment, but felt a sinister wind blowing in from outside the courtyard. A faint sound mixed with the cry of a wild cat, suppressing the urge to howl. Here it comes. I had a clever idea. Suddenly woke up. Heard outside the villa gate. A scratching sound of claws on the door could be heard. It's just past 10 o'clock. You actually came so early. I furrowed my brows, looking down at the phone. Quickly locked the phone screen, put it into his own pocket. Outside the door, the creaking sound of the sliding door lasted for a few seconds, quickly disappeared without a trace. I held my breath, silently squatting behind the sofa, waiting. But there was no further sound. It's not surprising. The cat walks very lightly. Usually, there won't be any sound. Moreover, it was still a cat scale cultivated in the courtyard. This thing is a spirit, cannot be seen with the naked eye, unless one can open the ghost eye. But my show is too shallow. Opening the ghost eye is too troublesome. He took out a palm-sized compass. Turn the compass over. Gently place it in your hand, staring intently at the compass. The constantly rotating red pointer, this compass is specially made. It's still the treasure left by second master before he died. Above are a black and a red pointer. The black pointer can be used to detect the Feng Shui direction. The red pointer, it is specifically used to turn into a ghost. In the end, the ghost said, "It is a strong magnetic field caused by a surge of vitality in the courtyard." This is my momentary psychological theory. I kept dodging Boo back and forth, but it doesn't mean to barge in directly. Could it be? This thing has sensed the presence of the living. So I hesitated and didn't dare to come in. Whether it's a domestic cat or a wild cat, their personalities are very cautious. As long as my breath, still in this villa, it is very likely not to appear. As soon as a thought crossed my mind, immediately take out a yellow talisman, stuffed into the mouth in a triangular shape. Then press it down with the tip of your tongue. The sheep lock attire can conceal my presence, reduce the leakage of sheep energy. Short enough. Shortly after I pressed the yellow talisman under my tongue, suddenly the compass needle shook violently. Next, placed on the position of the ghostly official used for arranging fish guts, a gentle breeze began to blow. The candles being blown also began to sway. The wind is very weak, but in the silent room, but seemed quite abrupt. Next is the color of the candlelight, also influenced by that favorable wind. Gradually became bleak. Candlelight can illuminate ghosts, although it can't be implemented immediately, but it can remind me its exact location. As the favorable wind swirled, the room was filled with a chilling gloom. The pale yellow candlelight is gradually being tinged with green. Through the light of the candle, a shadow of a wild cat is reflected on the wall, walking slowly, a little closer to the pile of dead fish entrails. Finally appeared. I swallowed, suddenly stood up. At the same time, reach into the pocket placed by the feet. Suddenly grabbed a handful of glutinous rice. He fiercely threw it at the spot where the shadow was cast on the wall. These glutinous rice have been soaked in a special liquor. It also has a strong ability to ward off evil. When the glutinous rice is scattered in the corner of the wall, immediately felt a rebound of power. The rolling sound on the floor. Mowling was startled. A sharp meow echoed immediately. Then it suddenly jumped up. A shadow quickly flashed by the corner, directly to the villa's windowsill. Want to escape. I let out a low growl. quickly sprinted to chase. Before taking action, I have set traps in 7 locations around the villa. The shadow darted up onto the windowsill. The leader outside has set the retreat. Then, in a panic, turned around, running wildly towards the villa's backyard. I had already anticipated his escape route. I brought a handful of cinnabar in advance, until the thing got close to the back door. He suddenly threw the vermilion powder. Jasha is a substance that is heated and melted. No shadow spirits can withstand the harm it brings. When the vermilion was scattered, I have already met you in advance. The outcome of this thing is utterly terrifying. Unexpectedly, after being struck by my vermilion powder, that shadow not only meowed. Instead, it let out a meow. It seems like I have angered him. Place all 4 paws on the floor. Let out an extremely hoarse roar. This scene made my heart race. I couldn't help but feel puzzled. Isn't it said that Zhu Shan is the nemesis of evil? Why is it none of his business? Is the content passed down from the dead man's sutra false? Just when I felt puzzled, the shadow has already jumped up, surpassing the limits of my naked eye speed, fell onto my shoulder. The room is too dark. To avoid startling Cat Bell, I haven't turned on the light either. It wasn't until now that I could see clearly the eyes of that shadow. Is it close in? I can tell it's a cat. I can tell it's a cat. It was like a pure black wild cat. I immediately sensed that something was wrong. Before I could react, the enraged wild cat, all the hair on my body stood up. A cut was made on my face. Those who have raised a cat know. This thing really itches and hurts. I made a mistake. Immediately several blood marks were caught, grimacing in pain. Hurry and cover the scratches on your face as you step back. This scene is evident. The content passed down from the Book of the Dead is false. Just when I felt confused, the shadow has already jumped up, surpassing the limits of my naked eye speed. The wild cat immediately jumped off my shoulder, swiftly pouncing towards the back door. Almost only a shadow remained. Don't go. My anger shot up straight. Instinctively threw out the peach wood nail, smashed hard on the back of the wild cat. It just happened to fall under the door frame. Hit until it was all cracked, flipping over and falling to the ground. I took the opportunity to leap at it again, grabbed the wild cat by its tail, pulled back hard. At the same time, he pulled down the curtains. Wrap up this wildly struggling feral cat. It kicked and thrashed its limbs wildly, continuously howling, a mournful cry. It makes me feel uneasy too. Finally caught this wild cat. I couldn't help but feel uneasy. This villa area. How did a stray wild cat appear here? It's neither too early nor too late. I accidentally broke my arrangement. Is it possible? A spark of inspiration flashed in my mind. In an instant, I realized something again. Quickly took out the compass to have a look. A faint smell of decay permeated the air. The needle on the compass spins rapidly. Made me realize I might have been deceived. Sure enough, just as I put down the compass, immediately a scream came from the direction of the bedroom. Amidst the pain, there was a chilling wail. It is the female client, Mona, the dog said. I blurted out a curse word. She dashed towards the bedroom door. A kick slammed against the door, forcefully pushed open the big door. Then I saw Mona, who should have been resting in bed. At this moment, unexpectedly, Po too was standing at the door. 2 eyeballs stared like light bulbs. In the eyes, still shining with amber light. What's even weirder is, her 2 eyes actually stood up. It revealed a more fierce appearance than the wild cat from earlier. Oh no, cat scales attached to the body. My mind instantly exploded. I realized that the wild cat just now was merely a distraction trap. While I was fighting with the wild cat, the real cat scales have long silently infiltrated and possessed Mona. Thinking of this, I instantly exploded with anger. Yet Mona maintained that dazed and numb expression. In hand, still holding a pair of scissors that I didn't know where they came from. Passed the blade of the scissors to Mona. Mona's eyes, aiming straight at my neck. The tone in my mouth was cold and indifferent. It's even more hoarse than a chainsaw. You, no, wait, Helmut. She had a malicious expression. Before the voice fell silent, already swung the scissors fiercely. Apply it to my neck. Spit. In a moment of desperation, I let out a curse, quickly dodged away, the heart within my heart. Everyone is thinking, I should die. I should be damned. I am doomed. I should die. I should be damned. I should be damned. I should die. I should be damned. I should be damned. I should die. I'm doomed. I should die. I should be damned. I am doomed. Damn it. I should be damned. I should die. I should be damned. I'm doomed. I should be damned. I should die. I should die. I lied to you. I'm doomed. I should die. I should die. I should be damned. Damn it. I'm doomed. According to the rolling, I should be damned. But my heart kept beating wildly. I have never encountered a situation like this before. Feeling anxious. My mind is completely blank. I have no idea how to deal with this. But soon I thought of an idea. The book says, those possessed by the cat bell are similar to those haunted by evil spirits. As long as it has just been possessed, the big drum's resentment should still be unstable. Once subjected to a strong impact, it might be possible to drive the cat bell away. Damn it. Try the effect. Time is running out. I didn't have time to think much. Hastily jumped up from Meng Na. He pressed her head hard against the wall. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. 2 hits. Sanzaya. Meng Na's forehead hit the wall. A muffled sound of hissing. She couldn't bear such a blow. Let out a more piercing scream. Surprisingly, he bumped his knee, aimed harshly at my groin. I was hit directly by her. Suddenly, the pain distorted his face. Quickly let go of her hair, clutching tightly at the thigh, pacing in pain. At this moment, Meng Na awkwardly got up. She didn't directly. She didn't